And a very good afternoon, wherever you may be, Watford supporters. Welcome to this brand new edition of the You ORNS Watford FC post match. My name is Omar. Wow, what a really poor performance from Watford today in the Javi Gracia era Mark II. Final score from Bramall Lane was Sheffield United 1, Watford 0. That's Sheffield United's first home win this season and their first goal at home this season, I think it was, or rather, only their fourth goal of the season. And we just didn't do enough in this game. I'll get to your calls and comments. Welcome to those of you on YouTube. Welcome to those of you on X, returning from this international break. And that three-game unbeaten streak that the previous manager had has now gone to pot after what was a very poor performance for me today. No urgency, no hunger, no desperation, defending all over the place. Look, you knew that one of the things, and I'll go to David in a moment, before I do, you knew that this was going to be a growing pains thing. And if anybody thought that Javi would just come in here instantly and go back to the 2019 glory days of that championship, of that Premier League season, they had another thing coming. I said that this was going to take some time. But what was really the thing that bothered me today was how frustrating this was. They allowed a team with no confidence to win a game and dictate the terms. You can't do that against a bottom of the table side. But we've seen this over and over and over again. Now, those are my comments for now. It's over to you, Watford supporters. I'm going to take David's call first. If you want to join David on the line on X, please do. Please hit the request button and we will have a listen to what you have to say after this one today. Really poor and disappointing, very underwhelming. It just didn't work, did it today? That lineup was suspect too, but listen, I don't want to take away all of the thunder from anybody who wants to talk about this. On X, please make your comments. I'll read them out. And also make your vocal comments. We will all listen. And on YouTube, please chime in as well. David, thank you for waiting. You're up first on this edition of the You ORNS Watford FC post-match.
Hi, Omar.
Hello there, David.
I completely agree. I'm really bored of this club and the way they perform away from home. We spoke against Millwall, who had a depleted team, and this has obviously been going on for probably ever since we've been relegated back into the Championship. Our away performances just follow a certain template, and so today was just really predictable. Really boring, in my opinion. You sort of just, it's hard not to just switch off. I think if we conceded a silly goal and maybe scored ourselves, or we could get stuck into something, I think that would be completely different. Sheffield United are, obviously they're struggling. They've got some decent players, but it's just really dull. It's really dull and just painful. If you were going to, there's obviously a select amount of people that go to every away game, and I just think like it just must be so boring. But we just don't offer anything in these sort of games, and as you rightfully point out, Sheffield United haven't won at home. They're there to be had, basically. There's a lot of pressure on them today, a lot more than ourselves, and they've not had to work for that win. And I think we had one shot on target, which was a nothing effort for the goalkeeper. It's really, really boring, in my opinion.
Very poor stuff. Very underwhelming. That's what frustrates me, David. The thing that really frustrates me, if I can say that word, is that even with new manager or no new manager, international break or no international break, I don't care what lineup he puts out there. And yes, I disagreed with the lineup. It was way too conservative. But I'm sorry, you've got to perform against a team at the bottom of the table. I don't care if you're playing on planet Mars. They have got to do better than that. I don't care who he puts in there. And people can talk about, well, the lineup, and I just said it. I agree. A conservative lineup, underwhelming. You've got to get out there. I don't care if he puts 11 toddlers out there. You've got to get out there and have some urgency. There was none. Even at the end there, Selbach didn't even come up for the corner. Come on.
Spot on, Omar. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think, we let these games bypass us away from home. That we're so sort of tame, and we're comfortable. We're comfortable just staying in these games, and as you say, there's no urgency. There's no feeling that we're on a journey in this championship. We're just happy to let it bypass us. And when these games get sloppy and they get sort of dull and stale, we always come out second best. And apparently we're meant to be looking at promotion this season. It's impossible to see that happening when you cannot perform away from home. And it's just such a massive issue. And I'm just looking at what. Yes, I agree as well that obviously it doesn't matter who we put out to an extent because the outcome is still the same. I'm almost sort of running out of ideas myself about what Javi can do, but we've got to change something. I think we have the players as well, if we really wanted to be dangerous, but there's just nothing there. There's Bar still can't get on the pitch with Viren Kunda either. So it's just another game that's a complete waste and just such a missed opportunity.
Really good points, David. Thank you very much indeed. And be well, take care of yourself.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome there, David. Thank you. David there with his comments about Watford. Yeah, and then before I go to Nelly next, I have to add something else. We always do this as a Watford side, don't we? We, as the men's first team, we play up or down to the level of our competition. And this was Exhibit A. Before I get to Nelly, I want to just say this. This was Exhibit A today. We played down to the level of our competition. We didn't really put any stamp on the game, didn't move the ball quickly enough. We're loafing it in defense. Defense, we didn't have a clue defensively today. No communication between Kevin and the goalkeeper. My God, we looked so nervy out there. That's what really gets me. The fundamentals of the game, once again, they go begging their fundamentals. How on earth are we supposed to get anywhere in this championship if we cannot master the basics of football? I mean, Wiley had a chance, should have scored. At the very end there, should have scored. The loser shot, should have scored. That's 3 at least. And we only had 1 shot on target, as David, I think, pointed out there. But we should have scored on at least 3 or 4 occasions right near the end. Obviously, the loser shot. Obviously, Wiley. Oh, my God. There were a million. Listen, we did have opportunities, but the finishing was poor, just not good enough. I'm going to go to Nelly next, but I want to read these YouTube comments as well. John Boy says, that was so poor. 100% John Boy on YouTube. Couldn't agree more. This was a shambolic performance. Let's be having it absolutely right. Shambolic today. Shambolic. And yes, it's going to take Javi some time. Yes, it will. This is not going to be a starting lineup next game, I guarantee you, on Wednesday night against Coventry. I guarantee you there's going to be more changes. You know, Ryan says on YouTube, hello, Omar, not great at all. Was the Sheffield United goal offside? Maybe, maybe not. But you know what, Ryan, I'll tell you this before I go to Nelly in a moment. We didn't deserve to get anything out of this game. We really didn't deserve anything, Ryan. I'm sorry. I'm not taking issue with your comment. We did not deserve a blooming thing out this game today. I'm just so frustrated with this team. And it's not the manager I'm frustrated with at all. It's the players. The other guy that we kicked out was not kicked out because of results. It was the way he did things off the pitch. It wasn't the results. The man had 2 spells of 3 unbeaten. And I said, give Javi a chance. It's going to take him some time. This was not Javi's fault today. This was the players who continue to play that familiar pattern of away games that David talked about. We go away from home and we get invisible. We become the invisible man away from home in most of these away games. And that is why we are where we are after 10 games in this table. Last comments on YouTube to read before I go to Nelly. And Nelly, thanks for your patience. Matt says, hey, Omar, hope you're well. Yeah, I'm well, Matt, but not happy with this. And I'm sure you're not either. Really poor today. Matt, he says, Matt adds, just shows how lackluster we was today. Total 13 shots with 1 on target and an XG, that's expected goals, rate of 0.95, which is just not good enough. Absolutely, Matt. You know what happened today? Matt, let me tell you something else. The last game we played, which was against Oxford, it was an XG of 2.65 under the last manager who's now gone. Ryan says the players have to take responsibility for our losses. Ryan, you're 100% correct. 7 straight games now, trailing 1-0, 7 games in a row, being down 1-0. That's where we are, Watford fans. Nelly, thanks for your patience. It's on to you. Welcome to this edition of the YOU ORNS Watford FC post-match.
How you doing?
Oh, could be better, Nelly. What about you?
Right, okay. What a shit today.
100%.
Right, I need to drag you back to last week. You were talking about a defeat, and you were talking about, I'm not sure if you can hear. Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you loud and clear, and I think everyone else can as well.
All right, good. So, you were talking about Matthew Pollock last week.
Yeah.
And you were talking about Matthew describing that everything was okay in the camp, when
Yes.
obviously it wasn't.
Right.
That's down to his agent. So you got to kick the boy back for that.
All right. What else you got tonight, Nelly? Anything else?
Today, oh man, that was rubbish.
Oh, it was disgraceful. Nelly, it was terrible football. We had no clue what we were doing. I don't care what formation. I don't care if it was a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. They had no clue what they were doing out there today. No leadership, nothing. Sissoko, nothing. No one. And I didn't see anything out there except for maybe Hector and the goalkeeper. There was nothing going on, Nelly, today. It was a disgrace.
Now listen, I'm gonna say something that I've said so many times in the last 6 months. You had a manager called Tom Cleverley, and you fucked it up.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you there, Nelly. We all know that Clev should still be here. Yeah.
Now, the reason is, most importantly for me, is give Tom Cleverley what you gave Palazzo in January.
Yeah. Pesolano, yeah.
It's just not fair. I don't know whether other supporters agree with me. It's not fair. How can you give Cleverley a 0 January transfer and say to him, get us into the Premiership, and then bring someone in August and go, there you go, 12 million. But listen, and I know 12 million's not going to get us in the Premiership.
And playing like this won't get us in the Premiership either, Nelly. This was a disgrace today. It's not the manager. I am so furious at these players. This was an occasion to show this new manager what you are about, and they didn't show him anything except for the incompetence and the lack of willingness to take a game like this by the scruff of the neck. This game was there for the taking, and they whiffed at it, and they absolutely balls the lot up today, Nelly.
So here's a question for you. Why would you play the lowest team in the division with our second team?
I know. I'm there. It's a rhetorical question. I'm there with you, Nelly. The lineup to me made no sense today. I mean, it made no sense to me, and I can't think he's going to keep that lineup for Wednesday, mate. Especially against Coventry. We'll get whacked if he does that again.
I'm really disappointed, Omar, today. It's not been a great day for me. And do you know what? We might be talking in 6 months' time that we're just, not on our way to playoffs, but we are top of the league. But for God's sake, what happens today has not inspired me.
I completely hear you. I'm there with you, man. We were at dog's dinner today, Nelly. Nelly, I want to thank you for your comments, mate. I'm going to move along here because there's some other comments I want to read out. But Nelly, thanks for making the call. We'll talk again soon, yeah?
Yeah, love to speak to you. Great,
Yeah,
mate. Take
lovely.
care.
You too, mate. Take care. Bye-bye. Cheers. That was Nelly with his comments. Yeah, frustration and despair. I mean, it's just it's a despairing performance. But what really for me makes this, before I get to some of the things that are being said, is that they just didn't show any spirit out there. You know, this was a game to be had. You had a remit. This is a team that most of us said, right, we need to go in there and get 3 points straight away against a Blade side that hadn't won at home this season. They hadn't won a game at home. One win all season long in the championship. Away at Oxford, a team we just beat 2 weeks ago. And now you're coming away at the Blades. And I know we've not had success there recently, but that's not the point. You've got to get 3 points out this game. I don't care what lineup you put out there. I don't care who the hell you're playing out there. I don't care about the formation. You've got to get that done. And don't tell me about an international break. And don't tell me about 8 or 9 or 10 Hornets players off on international duty. And don't tell me all of that. Don't tell me that. This team's bottom of the league. There's no excuse for a performance like this. Even if you didn't get the win today and it was, say, a draw, you got to play a whole lot better than that. That's not good enough. So I'm sorry. I mean, I hate to shout, but again, a performance like this is a performance that deserves a shellacking from the manager. And I know Javi, that's not his way, but the fans are certainly going to let the players hear it. They're not going to have a go at Javi. Javi's just come in here. The fans are going to have to be a bit more patient with Javi. Obviously, we are expecting a whole lot more from Watford, our men's first team, than we showed today. And obviously, the demands are there. And Nelly pointed to the issues of fairness. Well, you know, I should have said this earlier. Fairness doesn't matter in football. It's about, a lot of this is about the politics of things. Obviously, the owner never liked Cleverly, didn't want to keep him for the full season. Remember, when he was brought in, he wanted him out, you know, in February of this calendar year. This manager was never truly embraced by the Pozzos, by Gino. That's obvious for all of us to see. We knew that this manager, Tom Cleverley, I'm talking about, was never really fully embraced. He wasn't backed. How many times did we say, back Tom? How many times did you go on social media and see the message and the graphic that said, back Tom? How many times? How many bleeding times did we see that? It's so dispiriting. I'm going to get to your comments in a moment, but it's so dispiriting. I mean, I think that for me, the one word is frustration. You had opportunities to do better in this game. Your end product was horrible. You didn't have any cohesion. You didn't move the ball fast enough. There wasn't quick movement off the ball. There was nothing. It was so cautious. You're playing out the back in your 6-yard box against a team that, I'm sorry, this is just not going to do. And I know it's one game under Javi, and maybe I'm overreacting, but maybe I'm really not overreacting. Geez, this was a dog's dinner performance today. They didn't deserve anything out of the game. And we made Sheffield United look good. Oh my God, heavens above. It's one game. Maybe I shouldn't get too crazy. It's not the manager's fault, even with the change of lineup. And yes, it was conservative. And Nelly pointed the same thing out. Yeah, you know, that lineup, gee whiz. I mean, my God, all that talent on the bench, the attacking talent on the bench. You can't put what is it illegal now to put Bar and Iran Kunda on the pitch at the same time? Is that now a violation of the law? Dear, oh dear, oh dear. It's really frustrating. That's where my emotion now and my feeling now is frustration. Nelly's was despair, a little bit of despair and anger, which is understandable. All of those are understandable feelings and emotions, because this should have been a whole lot better than it was today. even if we weren't going to get a win out the game, put in a shift, put in a performance. My God, let Sheffield United know you're here. One shot on target against a bottom of the table side that hadn't scored but 3 goals previous to this game. They'd scored only 3 goals all season. Oh my God. And that's where I'm angry. That's where I'm frustrated. That's where I'm upset. That's why Watford fans are upset. Many of us. Some Watford fans will go, oh, fine, fine. But there are going to be lots of Watford fans like me, like Nelly, like David, and some of those commenting on YouTube. And I promise I'll read your comments right now. That just had enough of the weak performances away from home. Doesn't matter who the manager is. These players have got to do better. And can we retire those Elton John blue kits now? Can we get rid? 2 games, 2 defeats in them kits. I don't want to see them wear that blue kit again this season. I love Sir Elton. He's a Pinner lad like I am. I met him many, many moons ago. Been to 1 million of his concerts. But can we retire these blue kits? I don't want to see them wear them again. That's 2 wearings of those kits and 2 defeats. 1-0 to Blackburn and 1-0 today. Do you know all 4 of the games we've lost this season have been by that same 1-0 scoreline? 1-0 to Charlton, 1-0 to Blackburn, 1-0 to Millwall, 1-0 to Sheffield United. 1-0 defeats. And we've been, again, I'll say this one more time before I read out the comment there on YouTube. We've been behind in 7 consecutive games by that same 1-0 scoreline. Today, we didn't come back. We will never know if these lads would have come back under the previous manager, but that manager's gone. And many of you wanted him gone. I wanted to give him a chance. I wanted him to be given a bit more of a chance. But he wasn't gone because of the results. 2 blocks of 3 games unbeaten. He got you 7 points out of 9 in a week span. In a span of a week, 2 wins, 1 draw, and all come from behind efforts. It's 1 game, and that's that. I'm not going to go crazy. Javi's back here. The fans like Javi. They love Javi. So I'm not going to go off on Javi. I didn't agree with the lineup. Fine. I think that the manager's going to change the lineup for Wednesday against Coventry at the Vic. And we've got to stop looking at, I know Coventry are right near the top of the table, but we've got to stop looking at Coventry as if they are somehow this world-beating team. Do not be in awe of these teams. Show them no respect. And I think Watford today acted as if Sheffield United were the second coming of Manchester City. We showed Sheffield United way too much respect today. Way too much respect. Let me read out the comments now on YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTubers, for keeping you back and not reading your comments out. Matt says, from listening to the game on the radio, it sounded like no one was talking to each other during the whole game. And we all know that talking to each other in the game is what helps the team work well. Well, Matt, there was some real communication issues in the game. There were passes that went astray when one player thought their player was going to move into space and the player didn't. That happened with Wiley when he thought that Cipriano was going to move into space. Cipriano didn't move to the ball. And then the pass goes back for a goal kick to Sheffield United. Wiley, I thought, was good today, but he had a golden opportunity to score and he didn't take it. He just didn't take it well. Loser had a chance, hits the crossbar when he should have. He had all the time in the world, and I think he rushed it a little bit. I think he snatched at it a little bit, and he had more time than he thought he had. It hit the crossbar. Lucas should have scored in the first half. Couldn't get the ball out from under his feet. A great ball from Wiley again, who I thought had a decent game today, Wiley. But Lucas could have. I mean, he couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And some of it was communication. Matt, I agree with you. The communication was not sharp today on the pitch. And I don't know why that would be. Even under a new manager, even after an international break, these players have now played with each other for, 10 championship games now? 9 before this one? So, come on. And I understand, look, there were some players that hadn't been on the pitch forever. Ince hadn't had a look in forever, and he finally comes into a game. Also, we saw Cipriano come back in after a game or so out. And then we saw Mark Bowler. Welcome back to Watford. Welcome back to planet Earth, Mark Bowler. We hardly knew you existed. He hadn't played, I think, since the Blackburn match. The last match that he played, which was in these blue kits, which now need to be retired for me. These blue kits need to be retired. I'm sorry. No disrespect to Sir Elton, but I'm sorry. 2 games, 2 really poor performance. They played their worst football in these blue Elton John kits. It was so poor against Blackburn. That was their worst performance of this season. And today, they weren't that much better. Really poor from us. There's no escaping that. I don't care who your manager is, what your formation is, who your personnel is. You've gone into a Bramall Lane with a side with no confidence. They ain't scored but 3 goals prior to this game, and they ain't won any games at home. And you've absolutely allowed them to dictate the terms of the match. That's what frustrates me. It's not the manager lineup that frustrates me. It's not the fact that you're bringing in players that you're thinking, wait a minute, shouldn't this one start instead? No. That's not the problem for me. It's the application and attitude of these players. And that's why I don't believe in the new manager bounce. That stuff's a bunch of nonsense. Even for the teams it works for, I don't believe in this new manager bounce thing. It's so ballyhooed. It's so ballyhooed and exaggerated. This new manager bounce thing is some media invention. I really don't buy it. It hasn't really worked for us, has it? Anyway, let me get back to your comments. But Matt, I agree that, and you obviously, from what you're telling me, you didn't see the game itself, but there were periods in the game, Matt, on YouTube where there was no real communication going on. And Watford players, especially in defense, were standing around waiting for the other Watford player to clear the ball. There were hesitations in that defense today that we haven't seen since earlier in the season. They looked very uncertain about what they were wanting to do. Goalkeeper is communicating to Kevin and saying, hey, you've got to let me know. And both of them were going for the ball at the same time in the first half. There were lots of moments like that today. Lots of gaps. Really, really poor. We didn't move the ball quickly enough in transition today. Coming off the Sheffield United chance, it was 0-0, and we didn't break away fast enough. And then the last ball was not good enough. The end product was not good enough. We're snatching at it. We're getting desperate out there. Desperate. And then the goalkeeper doesn't even run up for the final corner. It's 96 minutes played. It literally was into the 96th minute. And why wouldn't Egil Selvik run up there with the rest of the lot and make himself available to head something in? See, that to me is not good either. Really poor. I'm very, very upset with this performance today. Thank you, Matt, for your comment on YouTube. Let me read out the rest of them. John Boy Cat says on YouTube, Harefield, me. Omar went to school near Pinner. Oh, well, good job. Very good. Very, very good. On to football, says John Boy. And thanks, John Boy, for that. Pinner lad here through and through, like Sir Elton, by the way. Both Pinner lads. But that's great. You're a local lad as well. Good job for you, John Boy. Good job there. John Boy continues, on to football. Seriously, we could be in relegation trouble before long. That was worse than before the break. John Boy, you never know. Football is a funny old game, and I know that the hardest thing to do in football is to put the ball in the back of the net. You never know what's going to happen. Javi Gracia got sacked in September of 2019 after taking this team to an 11th placed Premier League seat, finished the season before, and an FA Cup final appearance that same season before. The run of results were poor. He got sacked. The new manager, who was the old manager, Quique Sanchez Flores, came in. A 2-2 draw against Arsenal on a Sunday afternoon at the Vic after being 2-0 down to them. And then the very next game, we went to Manchester City, and we got the doors blown off at the Etihad 8-0. Remember that? And then Kike was not around for too much longer. And then there was another managerial change in November of that year, 2019. Nigel Pearson came in. And what happened at the end of that season there, Matt, John Boy? You know what happened. It was back to the championship for us. Now, if bad things come in threes and we see another sacking this season, John Boy, you never know. I don't want to say this so prematurely, and I'm not going to, but your comments have been registered here loudly and clearly. 10 games in now. We still don't have a real identity yet. And this is the time you start to look at the table. That's the time I really start to look at the table. We're 14th, I think, at the moment. Still trying to sort ourselves out. Wednesday is going to be a test, as every game is. I don't want to put additional stock on the fact that it is Coventry, and Frank Lampard has done an excellent job with Coventry. I don't want to put too much stock in that. I just want to look at this as another game. And then that may sound a little bit naive and a little bit cliched, but it's just another game. And Watford have to be on it from the start at the Vic. Javi returning. Hopefully we can produce something special there against Coventry on Wednesday. Remember when Javi was here the first go-around, it was a 0-0 draw at Stoke. And then we came home against Chelsea on that Monday night where everybody was really worried for us and fearful for us. Javi in his home debut, and Watford blew the doors off of Chelsea with that Darryl Janmaat superb strike, that superb goal that he had. Different team, though. That was a very different Watford side, a much more talented Watford side than this one, a much more veteran Watford side than this one. So we will see what happens, John Boy, on Wednesday night at the Vic. We've got a number of games coming thick and fast after that one. We've got Ipswich, among others. We've got Middlesbrough, among others. Our old friend Rob Edwards at Middlesbrough, who is top of the table. We'll see how it goes, John Boy. But it's a comment that's worth making. I don't want to go there yet, but I hear what you're saying. It's one game under Javi. I'm not prepared to go down that road just yet. It's just, but if you're looking at the performance, and I think that's where John Boy on YouTube is going, he's talking about the way that they performed today. Don't give you very much confidence. Doesn't. I mean, it is one game, but that performance is not good, is it? Don't give you confidence. If Watford had lost this game today 1-0, John Boy, and Watford had played well, I'd live with it. I wouldn't be upset like I am. You wouldn't be concerned as you are. You wouldn't have Nelly or David or anyone else showing, being really downright disenchanted with this side. You wouldn't. You wouldn't have Nelly being upset at the owner for not giving Tom Cleverley the backing that he should have got. We were all upset about that. It's clear it was politics. It's clear that the owner never liked Clevs, never really wanted him here. Yeah, he got a year and a half or whatever it was, but he was never really embraced. And that was obvious. You know how you show how you embrace a manager or a head coach? Back him with some freaking players. That's how you show that you absolutely are in love with the manager, or at least that you care about him enough to give him something to hold on to execute his vision on the pitch with. Now, that didn't happen. So you bring in Pezzolano, you back him with all these players, really talented players. I really did miss, by the way, Max Lane today. Now, Wiley did a good job, and I know that the formation was different, but I missed Max Lane. Jeremy Petrie, where were you? Petrie didn't even make the squad. Now, he might have been on international duty, but so were all load of these other players. And I didn't hear that Petrie was injured. Where was the pace that we needed in our back line? Didn't have any. Ngakia, I thought was okay, but he doesn't have the pace that Petrie has. And if you're going to put Petrie in the game, put Ngakia at left back, like the previous manager did. That actually worked. You had width and you had some length on the pitch and you had some pace on the pitch. We had no pace today. No pace whatsoever. Is anybody surprised by the result? I'm not. By the way, we had a clean sheet in the first half. I was not surprised. The first half was a very, very pedestrian half. It was a feel-out process, cagey, cautious. With a lineup like that, that was always going to happen against a team low on confidence. But for me, this game was lost in that first half. The game was lost in that first half for me. Yes, they scored in the second half, but the game was lost in that first half. The feeling out process should be a 10-minute process for me in the first half of the game. Then you've got to take the door, then you've got to unbolt the door, and you've got to charge through it with some real attack and intent. Watford missed an opportunity to do that in the first half. And I know it's the lineup, and I get the lineup, but it's the players and their attitude today that wasn't good enough in either half. And that first half was a waste of football. It was a waste of football. That's the first half performance that was shambolic. The second half wasn't any better. But you wasted a first half against a team with no confidence. None. That won't do. I don't care who's managing the side. You have a team with no confidence out there. You have to put them to the sword. You have to put them to the sword. Mark Avery on YouTube is telling me that we play West Brom on Wednesday. I apologize, and I hadn't checked that. I'm sorry. I don't know why I kept saying Coventry, but for some reason, I know we do play Coventry at some point. But thank you, Mark. I haven't verified what Mark has said, but I've got no reason to believe that Mark is going to just come on YouTube and tell me something that's not correct. But Mark, thank you for the correction. I haven't independently verified that, but I'm sure there'll be Watford fans who do verify it. So thank you, Mark, for the correction. I am certainly not beyond being corrected. I've made a gazillion mistakes, as we all have, but I have a responsibility to get that right. So thank you, Mark, for helping out there and correcting me on that. West Bromwich Albion on Wednesday. And so we've got to get into that game against West Brom and actually give a damn. We've got to give a damn on Wednesday against West Bromwich Albion at the Vic. We've now played games now against two teams with former Watford managers on them, and we've lost both of them. We lost against Blackburn, former Watford manager Valérien Ismaël, and then we lost today at the Blades against Sheffield United, former Watford manager Chris Wilder. So we've lost 4 games with 1-0 scorelines. We're 3-3-4 on the season. Every game we've lost 1-0, and again, we've gone 7 consecutive games now with a 1-0 deficit. 7 consecutive games. We had a 3-match unbeaten run. Under that previous manager, we had 2 blocks of 3 unbeaten. But everybody knows it wasn't the results as to why that manager went. I'm past Pesolano now. I wanted to give him a bit more of a chance. He was given 3 more games after the Millwall match. 3 games. So he's gone. Nobody should be calling for Pesolano to come back. A lot of you wanted him gone. I didn't. I didn't want him to be gone. I wanted him to build something. He was building some character in the side at least. But so many Watford supporters wanted him out, and they wanted him out before that game. So listen, I don't want to hear anybody calling for Pesolano to come back. I mean, a lot of us are calling for Tom to come back. Some of you have on your comments. Some of you have. Today we had Nelly calling for him. And yeah, it'd be great to have him back. But I'm sorry, that ship sailed now. That ship has gone. And Cleves is not doing excellent at least he had a rough start at Plymouth. He had a rough start at Plymouth. Plymouth, I think, put it this way. Look, they're in League One. I don't even need to be talking about Plymouth. The only League One team I'm happy about who lost today was that lot up the road. I'm absolutely delighted by that. Jack Wilshere, serves you right. We're glad you enjoy your defeat. But we lost as well, so there we go. You know, I mean, at least that they lost takes it a little bit of the sting out of this. But I'm sorry, we lost to a bottom of the table side. I mean, that's something that's unforgivable. A team ain't scored but 3 goals all year. 3 goals all season. Terrible performance. Matt says there's rumors, and this is Matt on YouTube, there's rumors of them thinking of bringing Emmanuel Dennis back to Watford with the way we play today. I don't have a clue where he would fit in. I agree. Matt, let me tell you, and you may not have seen this, but the Watford Observer had reported this as well earlier in the week, and they've also reported through Adam Drury that they have decided not to bring Emmanuel Dennis back. That's what the report was on Thursday, I believe, of this week, a couple of days ago. And I agree with that decision, Matt, by the way. I agree with the decision not to bring Dennis back for a third go round. I think Emmanuel Dennis is past it now as far as a real legitimate striker is concerned, or a wing player. His glory days were with Watford in that 2021 Premier League season, the 2021 22 season, where we came back into the Premier League. That was our last promotion to the Premier League. That was when Emmanuel Dennis's best days were. He is not that kind of player anymore. He came back to us a couple of seasons later. He didn't really do it for us, did he? I think he had 3 or 4 goals in 18 appearances, I think, with us. He wasn't fit when he played that second go around. He's not fit now. So, Matt, I appreciate the comment, and I agree with you. I don't have a clue where he'd fit either, and that's what I wanted to also say. I don't think Dennis would have fit into this side, not under Javi Gracia. I don't think he would have. You saw Doumbia come on late in this game. I thought that Doumbia came on a bit too late. Luca had that chance, as I said earlier. He didn't get that job done. He had another chance earlier where the ball skimmed right along the goal line. It didn't really go on the goal line, but you know what I mean. He put the ball in, and the ball went across the goal mouth, and no one was able to tap the ball in. That was earlier in the game as well. So look, I don't know where Dennis to me is he's moved on, you know. And if Watford had brought Emmanuel Dennis back in, Matt, I think that would have been a disaster for us. I think it would have been a disaster. And I can hear some Watford supporters now saying, but at least he would have some hunger about him. At least he would show some desire. At least he would be around the goal mouth. At least he would be aggressive. And I take all of those points on board with any Watford supporter who is going to tell me that Emmanuel Dennis would have at least had a bit of hunger and desire and fire in his belly. I'm not disputing any of that. But I think that we've run to the well a bit too many times with Mr. Dennis the Menace, and I think it's now time to move on to something different. We are in a new era at Watford now, whether we really want to admit that or not. I think it's abundantly clear that this is not the same Watford side that we saw 3 or 4 or even 5 or 6 seasons ago. I think that's a no-brainer analysis from yours truly. But Matt, thanks for the comments there. Dan says, Ngakia attitude rising again and helping him. Well, I think Ngakia didn't play badly today, Dan. And I know you made this comment a few minutes ago. He didn't play badly today, but I really wanted to see Petrie in the game. And when I looked at the lineup and there was no Petrie in the squad, period, I was going, what? Really? You're not even put Petrie on the bench? I think they could have benefited from that today. And I think that you would have been able to see Jeremy Petrie do some really good things to stop that ball down the left flank on his right-hand side. And I think that you could have put and should have put Ngakia on the left side. Have the two Jeremys on the pitch together. Because Jeremy Ngakia, after the 2 goals against Oxford, was never going to not play this game. Never going to not play the game today. So why not keep Petrie in the lineup? You know, and Petrie was really when Petrie had a run in the side, he was really good. And the Mendys were nowhere to be seen today. We could have used foremost Mendy in that defense. I mean, Kevin was okay today, but he also did not play at his best, and the communication was poor. None of the defense really distinguished itself. They were at 6s and 7s today. And where was Puppy Mendy? Where was he? He's on the bench. He didn't come in. Mendy had been pretty blooming good in the last 3 games. I thought Mendy was silently playing some good football in that midfield. But nowhere to be found today. Now, look, you've got to factor in another thing here. Thank you, Dan, for your comment. You've got to factor in that Javi's been with this team for literally, 3 days, 4 days? Most of this team had not been with Javi for more than a day and a half, Remember, a lot of these internationals come back on Thursday night or Thursday afternoon or Wednesday night. They haven't really spent a lot of time with him. I'm really not trying to make excuses. However, new manager is going to take a lot more time, even if there was no international break. As I said in the You ORNS WFC podcast, Watford FC podcast episode on Javi and Pesolano, Javi's going to take some time. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a few games before this starts to materialize. It might be another 5, even 10 games before we really get to see what's going on. That's what happens when you sack a manager. You got to rip up the playbook, and you got to start all over again. Talent or no talent, 15 new signings or no 15 new signings. You are going to have to rip up the form book and start again. It's a brand new manager. So the Watford fan base is just going to have to be patient. I think we all have every right to react very, very vigorously to this match and the poor performance that absolutely was unfolding in front of our eyes. But if you take a 30,000-foot view, it is just one game. There's still 36 more games in this championship season for Javi Gracia to get us promoted. But right now, after game number 10, we are nowhere near anything to do with playoffs, let alone actual promotion or automatic promotion. Nowhere near it. This is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. And I know that we as Watford supporters have some tremendous expectations, as does the owner. But when it all is said and done, it's going to take some time for Javi to see what he's dealing with here. And he'll get a really good look at them these next few days before that Wednesday match against West Brom. Iran Kunda needs more time on the pitch. Bar needs to be on the pitch from the start. I want to see Bar and Iran Kunda on the pitch together to start these games now. I want to see that happen. We didn't have that zip and zest in our attack at all today. We looked so lifeless at times. We were just working off of scraps. We were just shooting the ball all over the place. I mean, we just did not compose ourselves when we were going forward. The end product stunk up the joint today. We were poor. There is no other way to put it. Matt says, just looked at BBC Sports. It's West Brom on Wednesday at 7:45 p.m. and Coventry Saturday at 12:30 p.m. in the early kickoff. Thank you very much, Matt, for further backing up what Mark said. And look, I haven't had the opportunity to look at all of this since I'm doing this. I don't have the screen in front of me, the second screen in front of me to look at this. So I thank you, Watford supporters there who helping out, Dan helping out, and Matt helping out, correcting me there and getting the exact times as Matt has brought us. It's West Bromwich Albion Wednesday evening at 7:45 p.m. kickoff at the Vic, and then it's Coventry Saturday at 12:30. Can somebody tell me, Matt, it might be you, can you tell me if the Saturday game against Coventry, is that at the CBS Arena or is that at the Vic? Let me know about that early afternoon 12:30 kickoff next Saturday. Is that at the Vic or is it at CBS Arena in Coventry? Let me know that, Matt, or anybody else who's listening or watching. Please let me know in the comments as far as that's concerned. Richard Lees, hello to you, Richard. Good afternoon, Omar. Richard says, disappointing result for Javi's comeback. Needs time to implement his ideas. Absolutely. Richard, you're spot on. That's exactly what I just said a few moments ago before I even saw your comment. So we absolutely are of the same mind there. It's going to take some time. I said this a week or so ago when I did the You ORNS Watford FC podcast. Please make sure that you listen to it. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify. And I really do hope that you pay attention to it because there's a load of things I've got to say more about this game. And also, please subscribe to the You ORNS on Substack. Would really love for you to do that as well. We're going to wind things down in the next 5 minutes or so. Watford losing today by a score of 1-0. Very frustrating defeat for Watford. That's my word for it. Frustrating after the performance that you saw against Oxford where we really played well in that match, especially second half. We went gangbusters, and then the manager got sacked because of what was going on off the field primarily. And then, of course, the bottom line is that we just didn't get it done today after that international break. Look, one game under Javi. I'm not going to blame Javi at all for what's happening. What really does disappoint me is the lack of enthusiasm from these players. And I know people are going to say, well, it's the international break, but I'm not having that. I'm totally not having that. I am not having that it was the international break. I'm sure you had some Sheffield United players that were on the international break. Matt says on YouTube, it's away at the CBS Arena. Thank you, Matt, for coming through as you do so often on YouTube. Watford supporters on YouTube, thank you for watching and listening. Those of you on X, thank you very much as well for watching and listening. I'm going to point out that, look, Watford today just weren't up for it. They just weren't up for this. And what disappoints me the most, as I've said, to summarize, is that we just did not have the urgency against a side that's rock bottom in the championship, a side that has scored just 3 times this season in the championship, a side that had not won at home this season in the championship, a side that was low on confidence, a side that had already, like Watford, sacked its manager and brought back a previous manager. I mean, all of those elements happened for Watford and for Sheffield United, except for the low on confidence part and the fact that we've scored more than 3 goals this season, Watford. But it was so interesting. Chris Wilder brought back to Sheffield United for a 3rd go-round. He never should have been sacked last season to begin with. Never should have been sacked at the end of that season. I don't know what the ownership was thinking, the chairman at Sheffield United was thinking, getting rid of Chris Wilder. I just don't know. What, because they didn't win the playoff final? Now you got to get rid of him and bring in Ruben Neves, who had no clue. Ruben Neves had absolutely no clue what he was doing at Sheffield United. And then you get rid of Ruben Neves, and then you bring back Wilder again. It's kind of, again, it's just like with Javier. I wish I knew how to quit you. to use a line from Brokeback Mountain. You know, I mean, that's what it is. But Watford today, the attitude of the players, the mentality of the players really disappointed me today. You know, you would think, and I don't believe in new manager bounce, but you would think that you'd want to fight for a place. You would want to fight for a starting place in this Watford lineup. You would think that that would be the impetus for you. A brand new manager, well-liked, beloved by the Watford supporters, but yet no urgency against a bottom-of-the-table side. That is a wasted game. That's a wasted opportunity today. That is my summary for the Watford supporters. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and listening on YouTube and watching me on YouTube, I should say, and watching, I should say, and listening on X, if I can get my watching and listening correct. I want to thank you all because, again, this was a very difficult one for me and for all of us as Watford supporters to take. Because, again, I would have taken a 1-0 defeat if we had showed like we actually did something on the pitch today. I would have taken that. But we just weren't good enough in any area of the pitch. The defending was just shambolic. No application going forward. Can't move the ball against this lot. This lot had no confidence. We should have come in there and given them no respect. I thought we were way too respectful of them too. Way, as I said earlier, we showed too much respect to a team at the bottom of the table, on its hands and knees at the bottom of the table. And we let them into the game. We gave them a lifeline and they just ran with it. We made them look like world beaters today. And they didn't really have to do that much to beat us either, because we beat ourselves all over the pitch. So frustrating. That's the order of the day from me. Frustration today at the Vic. The final at the Vic. Listen to me. Frustration today at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United 1, Watford 0. I want to thank each and every one of you again. Please subscribe to You ORNS on Substack. That's You ORNS WFC, the number 1.substack.com. I know I've been behind on the writing, but I have so much to get to, and I will certainly get to that this weekend. We'll have a You ORNS 10-minute take here on YouTube as well at You ORNS WFC. Please subscribe. and follow along on X at YOU ORNS WFC, on Instagram at YOU ORNS WFC. It's a pleasure to have you aboard. Please subscribe to the YOU ORNS WFC YouTube channel, and of course the podcast, YOU ORNS WFC on YouTube, and the podcast on Apple and Spotify and other podcasting platforms will be coming up tomorrow. The final score again. Oh my goodness. Harry's return was not a happy one, but there is more to come, and there will be better I promise you. I think there will be better days ahead for this Watford side, but this was not one of them. Sheffield United won, Watford 0. And as Matt says, it was almost like the players thought this will be easy. Sheffield United at the bottom of the table, this will be a walkover. That is the YOU ORNS Watford FC fan comment of the game and of this YOU ORNS post-match. I totally agree, Matt. That last comment is the YOU ORNS Watford FC fan comment of the day. Matt's comment, it was almost like the players thought this will be easy. Sheffield United are at the bottom of the table. This will be a walkover. That is exactly the personification of what this team attitude was today. This team's attitude was exactly as Matt put it. They went into this game, and I said this earlier, playing down to the level of their competition, and that's exactly what they got today. They got exactly what they deserved, this Watford side today. When you come in with a mindset like that, and Matt just talked about it, you are going to get beat in this league, in any league. And you went into Bramall Lane thinking that this was going to be an easy contest. It was going to be a stroll. We go in there, tickle their tummies, and we get out and move on. No, that was not the contest that you had today. You had to be all business. You had to take nothing for granted. You had to show them no respect. You had to be ruthless, and you were toothless instead. Philip Mason adds, hope that Gracia learns from this poor team selection and picks a more attacking lineup! Exclamation mark. That is from Philip Mason. And Philip, I think that Gracia is going to learn a lot more. I said this before this lineup was put out there, before the game, rather, when the lineup was put out there 90 minutes before. They've changed it. It used to be 60 minutes before the game. Now it's 90 minutes before the game when the lineup gets released. But I said this when that lineup was released. I said, there's going to be more changes. This is not going to be, I said this during the game at least, this is not going to be the everyday starting lineup from Javi. It's not. I guarantee you that. I think he's just trying to learn about these players. I've got no issue with Javi today. He's just trying to learn with what he has. Some of them players that he picked weren't at international break. Some of them were. He's going to get to know a lot more about this team now in these next 3 or 4 days before the next match. It is a short week, but at least he'll have a bit more time with these players. I guarantee you, Philip, this lineup's not going to be the same on Wednesday night. They played too poorly for that to happen. I will be shocked if Javi Gracia puts the exact same lineup out there, the exact same lineup. I really would be shocked. And that would really get a lot of Watford supporters absolutely enraged with Gracia. I promise you. And as beloved as Javi is here, he could lose a lot of love real quick on Wednesday night if we're reading a starting lineup that has all these players in it as you were. That would be a really, really dicey thing. And you can tell the fans don't want certain players here. I think they've had enough of Sissoko. They've had enough of Kayembe. You know, and I mean, I can understand some of that. Sissoko has not been at his best. I mean, I don't want to put all this on one player. And Kayembe has fits and starts. Sometimes he can be pretty decent. And other times he can just be absolutely a disaster. And I think some of the Watford fans throw their ire at those two players because they've been here for a lot longer. And also they can be very inconsistent. So Philip says what he said there, and he adds, need to be strong for the Coventry match as they are flying. I want to correct something that I said earlier. In fact, there were 2 other Watford supporters here on YouTube who did correct it earlier. It's going to be West Bromwich Albion as the next game. That's the next game on Wednesday. at home to West Bromwich Albion at the Vic. It's a 7:45 p.m. kickoff. That was confirmed through Matt on YouTube, and also previously Mark Avery had mentioned this on YouTube, and Matt had confirmed this by looking at BBC Sports independently. I have not independently looked at it, but Matt has, and I trust that his judgment is on. And he said, according to BBC Sports, it's West Brom next. We host West Brom Wednesday night at 7:45 at the Vic under the lights, and then Coventry Saturday week, which of course is a week from today, 12:30 p.m. That's the early afternoon kickoff at the CBS Arena in Coventry. And I agree, Philip, we've got to be strong for that match. We've got to be strong for every one of these matches now. The West Brom match is the next test. Every one of these, it's 36 more tests now. We have 36 games to be promoted. I don't want to sound like it's drama central, but Watford ownership makes it drama central. And not me, not you, as Watford supporters, right? But I agree, I agree, Coventry. Listen to me. I agree, Philip. We need to be strong for all these games. Coventry match, yep. Next weekend, Coventry is going to be another one. Frank Lampard's got these lads flying, absolutely flying. Coventry are looking like they're going to be promoted. And I know it's 10 games, very early, and it's not how you necessarily start in these in these seasons. It's how you finish. Obviously, Watford would want a better start than 3 wins, 3 draws, and 4 defeats. But again, when you sack a manager, be careful what you wish for, and be patient with what you want and what you hope for, because you're going to have to rip up the apple cart, upset the apple cart, rip up the scripts, and start all over again. And the Watford fan base is going to have to be patient, even with the lofty and understandable expectations that we have this season and that the owner has this season. You're going to have to be patient with Javi. You know, the lineup today was infuriating. I wasn't completely surprised by it. He hasn't got a full accounting of these players yet. It's completely understandable that he would have a lineup that, quite frankly, does not reflect, I think, the proper intent. I think he wanted to see what he had out there with the players he had worked with, or at least some of them. Iran Kunda, obviously, he didn't work with, but you get what I'm saying. I didn't like the lineup either. But I'm telling you that lineup will change on Wednesday night. I promise you that. I'm not in the clubhouse. I'm not in the dressing room. But I'm telling you, any Watford supporter can see that that lineup is not going to do. You can't start any matches like that anymore in this championship. Not this season. Too conservative, too stodgy, and no pace in that lineup against a team that was absolutely there for the taking with no confidence. You have to be you know what? You have to be merciless. You have to be absolutely ruthless against teams like that. You got to just go in there, hammer and tongs. But look, listen, I'm not going to go off at Javi. You know, really, I'm not going to do that. And there will be some Watford supporters who do. And Philip, I understand what you're saying. I think Gracia's going to learn from this. He's going to learn from it. What I'm just so ticked off about, and forgive me because I was supposed to end this a few moments ago, this live, but I'm just, you know, I'll end it in a few moments. But I'm just so infuriated at the lack of passion today. The lack of passion, you know that we had an absolute opportunity today to pick up 3 points, and we just didn't show that we wanted the 3 points, did we? Did we now? In it, we just didn't show that we wanted the 3 points today. So that's where I'm frustrated, even more than any lineup thing. Like I kept saying throughout the last hour or so, the lineup is not, you know, ultimately, of course, the lineup should have been better than what it was. But ultimately, I don't care what lineup's out there. I've said this a million times today. You've got to show some hunger, show some desire, show some hunger against a side that's nowhere. Oh my God, we wasted so much. That first half was a wasted half of football. 47 minutes played, a wasted half of football. That's where the game was lost to me. And I get it. We kept a clean sheet, but it was what we didn't do in that first half that for me was where we lost this game. And then it just went from bad to worse. Second half. 50 whatever minute it was, 52, 58, 59. Just as we were about to make them subs, boom, 59th minute, they score. Sloppy defending, sloppy everything. Can't string two passes together. One zigging where he should zag. A ball gets fired wide. Wiley breaks the lines and then puts the ball into the stands in row whatever to the left of the goal. It's just come on. This ain't good. Wiley had a decent game, by the way, but I'm sorry that is just poor finishing. Where's your finishing? Really, where's your finishing, mate? And Luca can't get the ball out of his feet. Wiley puts a great ball into him, can't get the ball out from under. Loser has a glorious opportunity, had more time than he thought he had. He snatched at it a little bit, rushed it, hits the crossbar. Goal is open wide. Goal is open sesame. Not good enough from anyone. There were some players that had a decent game, but it was a collectively poor performance. We had no clue what we were doing. We were very disjointed, disengaged, scruffy, trying to be cute, trying to be exact, too conservative, no flow in our football, no ideas, no real cohesion out there. Just a dog's dinner. Just all a mishmash and a hodgepodge. We had no clue what the hell was going on that pitch against a side that had nothing. They had their best player out, Hamer or Harmer or whatever, however you pronounce his name. Their top player was out. And we had nothing. They had their top player injured, and we still couldn't make anything out this game. We deserved to lose, and we got the defeat we deserved. Philip Mason says, we have probably the best attacking options in this league, and Gracia needs to find a way to accommodate them while also replacing Pollock with Elaine. You know what? Thank you, Philip. That's the player that nobody's talking about. Matty Pollock has not been very good, okay? Thank you, Philip Mason, on YouTube for pointing that out. I said that a few days ago. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Whenever it was, I said, Matty Pollock wasn't very good in one of these games, and you can't hide the man. All right? I know some Watford fans have their favorites, and maybe we all do to an extent. Maybe. But Matty Pollock, I'm sorry. Bring back Max Elaine. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Philip, thank you. I mentioned Elaine earlier. We didn't see him at all today. Elaine had been going well on that side. Put that lad in there. Put him in. How can you not use Max Elaine at all? Max Elaine needs to be in the starting lineup. I think he might have been off international break. But listen to me. International, schminternational, I don't care. The international break is not the problem here. It's the lack of attitude with your 11. You put a starting 11 out there that didn't have the gumption to get in there and get the job done. And it was way too conservative. And you had to put Elaine in the match. I get that. Yeah. Philip, thank you. Pollock needs to be replaced. And he needs to come off the bench. Listen, this is not about favorites. This is about what it's going to take to get a team over the line in these championship matches. This isn't about romanticism. And I get that. Football is a very emotional, for the fans, it's a very emotional endeavor. We all, as supporters, invest our hearts and souls in these matches. We wait all week for these matches, or sometimes we wait, twice a week for these matches. You've got 2 matches coming up in the next week. It's an emotional investment for us. But also look at what you've got on that bench. Yeah, Philip, I already gave out the You ORNS Watford FC fan comment of the day. So I'm not going to change that at all. But you're the runner-up with that comment. Best attacking options in the league. Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. That is a runner-up there, Philip Mason, for the You ORNS Watford FC comment of the match. You were runner-up to Matt's comment earlier. because I think Matt hit the nail on the head earlier with the comment about the mentality of the players thinking that this was going to be a walkover today. That's exactly how they played. So Matt has that. But that comment you made, Philip, is a really good one as well. I think we probably do have the best attacking options in the championship. And it's going to take him some time, Philip, to find out how that works. We as Watford fans and Watford supporters, we have our idea of what those are. Bar and Iran Kunda need to be on the pitch together to start these games. It can't always be us having to come from behind in the games. And I think that Bar and Iran Kunda will be, I think, a lot more of an attacking impetus for us. I don't know who you want to put in the middle as your striker. I don't know. Do you want Luca? Do you want Semedo? Do you want Dumbia? Dumbia hasn't had a real look in. He came in today, didn't really do much. He didn't have much time to do much. If you want to bring in another striker, I don't want Dennis here. I'm sorry, I don't. I don't want Emmanuel Dennis at the club, and he's not coming. According to the Watford Observer, as I said before, that was reported by Adam Drury at the Watford Observer a few days ago now, that they were thinking about bringing him in, and they've now decided not to. And I think that's a smart move by the Watford front office and the top brass. It's a smart move. He wasn't fit. He wasn't fit the last time he came back here, and he ain't fit now. And I think that would have been a wasted investment. His time has come and gone. If we can get somebody in January, fine. But it's just not worked so far with the attacking options, has it, really? We didn't score again. That's 4 games we've not scored in the first 10. 4 games. We've not kept a clean sheet all season. Those problems have existed before Javi Gracia came and returned. I think you're going to see that change, Philip. I think it's a good chance you're going to see Max Elaine come in there for Wednesday night. You're going to see multiple changes. I think you're going to see that. I think you're going to see some attacking changes. I really hope that Javi does put Bar and Iran Kunda on from the start. I would like to see that again. I really would. I think you would too. I think a lot of us would as Watford supporters. And I want to see Papi Mendy back in there. I'm sorry. I want to see Papi Mendy back in the midfield. I thought he did pretty blooming well. I really did. I want to see Jeremy Petrie back in there. I want to see a lineup that has a bit more pace in it. Mendy's got pace and he's good in midfield. Petrie's got pace. He's good as a right back for us. He's lean. He's long. He stretches the pitch. He provides some attacking endeavor as a wing back. He's great stopping them balls from coming in from the cross in his own defensive end. He defends his defensive third really well. He's physical out there. We lacked physicality today. That's the other thing I've not talked about. No one's pointed that out. We lacked physicality. No tackles. And on the Watford commentary too from BBC 3CR, that's also something that Del Boy, Derek Payne, pointed out on the commentary. No tackles in the game. Really sedate. I mean, there were some tackles later, but the first half, really sedate. Oh my God, did you forget that this is the championship and not La Liga, where they don't put in a tackle on anybody? I'm sorry. Again, I know I've been ranting and shouting. I'm sorry. But this has just been so frustrating today. This lot didn't show any heart, no spirit, no fight. And can we please, again, for the last time, stop wearing these Elton John blue shirts. Them kits are not getting the job done. I know you've got to play the game regardless of the kit you're wearing, but my goodness me, that kit's got to go. We cannot keep wearing that anymore. 2 times in that kit, 2 defeats. Time to retire that Elton John kit. Sorry, but not sorry. Just not playing our 2 worst performances of the season today, and especially the game against Blackburn. We wore that kit. I'm superstitious like that when it comes to football. I am superstitious like that. When it comes to football and sports in general, that kit was awful. I'm sorry, I know it's the most popular Watford kit in history of Watford Football Club, but that kit, we have lost in it both times. Time to retire it. I thought that they wouldn't playing it again after the Blackburn match. But they did. And when I saw them walking out there in them blue kits today, I thought, oh my goodness me. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, we'll see what they're playing on Wednesday night. I hope it's going to be their home yellows. And I don't love that particular kit either. But at least at home, we've played pretty well in it. We won some games in it. Let's see where we go on Wednesday night against West Bromwich Albion. We used to be, says Matt, one of the best counter-attacking teams, but that has not happened so far this season. 100%, Matt. We did not do that so far this season. Did not do that, I should say, in this game. We had an opportunity, a great counter-attacking opportunity. We were so slow getting the ball out of our feet on the counter. Imran Loser didn't pass the ball fast enough. No pace in the side. No pace. This is what I mean. When you have a Jeremy Petrie on your right and you have Ngaki, who doesn't have quite the pace, obviously, that Petrie has on the left, and you have Papi Mendy in there in the middle, I think you've got a bit more about you. You got Max Lane. If you put Max Lane in that back four and make it a back four, pair Lane up with Kevin, have Elaine and make it a back four. Have Elaine and Kevin in the middle together, right? And have some dynamism about your lineup. Have some freaking movement in your lineup. Have some freaking movement in your defending. There was no movement today. See, that's my big concern, Matt. And I know it's just one game under the new manager, but we didn't have any movement today. Anywhere. Off the ball, on the ball, no movement, no life. We didn't create enough off the ball. With our movement, we didn't move into space very well. We were very static out there. We didn't take the chances to make runs enough. I don't think that we had and again, I don't want to blame this on the international break. I just don't think we had the physicality and the spirit and the passion and the life that we needed today to put something up against that side with one shot on target. Very disappointing, and very frustrating from a Watford Football Club perspective. As Watford supporters, we demand better than that. We need a shift, and these players just didn't have anything to give. I know Aaron Kunda got subbed off in the in the second half, and maybe he did look a bit tired. He traveled from Australia and New Zealand and all the rest. So he was traveling all over the place. So listen, I know he's only 19. So, but still, I mean, I won't go off on the international break at all. But yeah, that Matt points it out on YouTube. One of the best counter-attacking teams. Yeah, but today, not so much. This season, no evidence of it. No evidence of it. And if you put Bart on the pitch from the start, I think we might have been able to show a bit more speed and pace out there. And we might have been able to pull off a counter-attack, because that's something that Bar is really good at on that left side. You can put him on either side, left or right. But this season, he's been featured mostly on the left side. And if you're going to start the games, start with him in the game and put Iran Kunda on the right side. I think we played way too deep in our defending today. That's another thing I didn't point out from earlier. Too deep in our defending. We defended way too deep in this game. We gave them way too much respect. We treated them as if they, as I said, were Manchester City. We defended in a low block for a lot of that match. We were way too deep, way too deep. Iran Kunda played deep off as well. He shouldn't have played that deep in the game, and he was ineffective. I want to see Bar and Iran Kunda together from the start on the match day coming up Wednesday night. And I think that we're going to see that. But then again, I was the one that said a week ago that we'd see Bar in the starting lineup under Javi in this game. What did I know? What the hell did I know? That weren't happening, was it? That was not happening. And it didn't happen. Mac says, I watched Elaine play while he was on international duty, and he was incredible. I'd rather have Elaine on instead of Pollock. I second that one. I absolutely agree. Elaine moves the ball about better. Elaine has, I think, a very good stick-to-itiveness. I mean, an adhesion to his defensive positions. He's got a bit more range than Pollock has defensively. Yeah, he's not as physical as Pollock, but what Elaine gives you is a bit more versatility in defense. He can play left, he can play right, he can play in the middle. Pollock is not generally as versatile that way, and he has been used, Pollock, in previous seasons on the left side of the pairing or on the right side of a pairing. He has been used there, but he likes to stay in a certain place in a certain position. But Elaine is a versatile player. He gives you a bit more width. He gives you a bit more pace. He gives you a bit more variety. He's got some long ball qualities. He can run with the ball really well. He's good with the ball to his feet. And I'm not so sure that Pollock is. He's not as good with the ball to his feet as Elaine is. He's just not. He's just not. So look, I'm just telling you what I see. And Matt, I agree with you. I think Pollock needs to be dropped to the bench on Wednesday, and I want to see Max Elaine in the side. You've commented, Matt, that you saw him while he was on international break, while he was on international duty over the last couple of weeks, and you really found him to be terrific. You said he was incredible. I think you've got to put Elaine on the pitch, and he didn't get in this game at all today. I think Javi's going to see that, and I'm sure his backroom staff, coaching staff, will also look at that with the international performances. Yeah, Elaine's had a good run in this side. You've got to keep him going. He's a young lad, Manchester City loanee, 18, 19, whatever years old he is. You've got to let a young player like that who's going well continue to go well. So I would have Elaine go to the center. I'd have him paired up with Kevin. I'd have Jeremy Petrie on the right. I'd have on my left, I'd have the other Jeremy Ngakia. That would be my back four, right? I don't know if you can have Cipriano in there and have Mendy in there as well. I don't know how that's going to really look. But there has to be a change. I mean, Sissoko is not really paying the rent, is he, right now, as a Watford mid? Loser can stay where he is. I don't know. I mean, there still need to be changes made, but I'm confident that Javi's going to make them changes. I would be shocked if that lineup shows up the same way. I won't be happy. Put it this way, even though it will only be his second game in charge again, if he turns out the same lineup, if that same lineup to start with turns up on Wednesday in the team sheet, I will absolutely lose my lunch. You can't start the very same lineup. And I'm confident after that performance today that Javi's going to make changes for Wednesday against West Brom. That is it for now on this edition of the You ORNS Watford FC post-match live on X and live on YouTube. Please subscribe again to You ORNS WFC, the number one.substack.com. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel at You ORNS WFC. And of course, once again, remember the You ORNS Watford FC podcast will be coming out tomorrow on Apple and Spotify. And follow on X and on Instagram at You ORNS WFC. Omar Matt says, thank you again for streaming and letting us talk about the team we love, even though today we've lost and we've all just ranted about the mistakes made. That is absolutely right, Matt. Thank you, as ever, for joining on YouTube, and all of you who have commented on YouTube or who have commented and contributed on X today. This has been the You ORNS Watford FC post-match. We'll do it all over again, won't we? On this coming Wednesday, certainly on X, we will be doing that. So please do come to the table on X. We will not be having a You ORNS Watford FC post-match on YouTube. I should say that for Wednesday, but we will be back on You ORNS Watford FC post-match on YouTube, and we'll do a pre-match on YouTube. Well, pre-match might be a little bit too early for me next weekend, ahead of the Coventry kickoff, which is the 12:30 p.m. UK time kickoff. But we will have the You ORNS Watford FC post-match on YouTube next Saturday. So join us on X only on Wednesday for the You ORNS Watford FC post-match for Watford versus West Bromwich Albion. That is it for now. I want to thank you all again for liking the videos. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. There'll be more coming up, including the 10-minute take coming up shortly here on YouTube. Thank you again for those of you on X and on YouTube. Take care. And for now, it's me, Omar, telling you, take care. See you Wednesday night.